Hello everyone, welcome to a demo of this game called MoteMancer, which, as I record this, is releasing in, I guess, probably early access? I don't know exactly, on Steam in like 10 minutes, but I'm playing the demo, which has been out for a while, I guess, I don't know how long. It is an automation game, and that's why I found out about it. It was mentioned in the discussion of the impending, presumably happening right now as you watch this video, Steam Automation Fest? Some sort of Steam promotion of automation games. This one is magic themed, and instead of like planets, it has planes, maybe? This is my second session of this game. I tried recording a different video, but I got the sound settings all wrong. So I kind of stumbled through the very beginnings of the tutorial, which I will just repeat now for your benefit. As I struggled to come to grips with how everything works, I can now just tell you how things work. Okay, so we're reading a book here. Motes, I mean, there's still, okay, I say everything. I played like 45 minutes. I understand the very, very basics of the very most surface level things, but I understand some things. Motes, in their raw form, are fleeting whispers of the elements. Through alchemy, we refine and fuse their essence into useful reagents. Salt provides foundation and stability, ground from the persistent elements, shadow, water, and earth. So there are 6 elements. Salt comes from these 3. Ether guides the flow of energy and power and is drawn from the energetic elements, life, fire, and air. Through alchemical binding, motes find form. Joined with their partnered reagent, I still don't know what that means. I'm guessing it means the one on the opposite, like fire and water, shadow and earth, life and wind? No, it should be, this must be air and earth, life and shadow? The colors for these are a little weird. Anyway. Still studying? A good habit for an alchemist. Yeah, and then we move around with WAS, and we can zoom in and out. Yep, they make me do that. Then we talk to our friend here. There's always more to master, but clarity follows intent. The structures lie dormant, their power spent. Let's put your craft to use. Cast a mana flare to restore them. Watch closely, study their function. When you understand, gather the reagents from the chest and bring them to me. So, there's this, like, spell that you can use. I assume someday in the future I'll learn about other spells. But this is like a building I can place, and it wants me to place it here. And when I do, my like mana bar depletes a little bit, but it charges up quickly. So this, as I understand, is like the throughput limiter for doing stuff manually, kind of? I don't know. So I can put down a mana flare, and this is powering all adjacent buildings. So my understanding, okay, this game has a lot of parallels to Factorio, like maybe even more than the typical factory automation game that I've seen. The UI all feels very Factorio, which is a compliment, don't get me wrong. We've actually got the engineer character analog, the alchemist, I assume, unlike in some other games where you're just sort of like an orbiting god body or whatever. Although I guess Factorio kind of turned into that with Space Age. Anyway, so this is like, I eventually found out that a mana flare is basically a battery. You pour some mana into it, and it distributes that mana over time, and eventually it runs dry. But that won't happen yet. So then there's these several buildings, which I pieced together even before the game explained to me like what they're doing. These collectors are miners. What are they? Mining drills, I guess, in Factorio? And these kind of gaping holes in the floor are mineral patches, right? This is green stuff and this is purple stuff, which I think were earth and life, probably? I don't know. What are they? Shadow and life. Okay. So we have these miners gathering stuff, and they're outputting directly into grindstones, which grind them down into the reagents salt and ether, which, recall, salt comes from, there are 6 mote types, 2 of which grind into salt, sorry, 3, half of which grind into salt, i.e. 3 of them, and half grind into ether. So there's one of each kind of grouping of elements being gathered from here to produce the 2 most basic. I assume these are like copper and... These seem to me analogous to copper and iron, basically. I don't know which is which. Actually, I think ether is... I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, we were asked to pick all this stuff up. Here you go. You can have it. Oh, Manfire is a temporary but useful solution. Perhaps it's time to teach you to weave energy through life structures. I'm eager to... Oh no! The world's exploding! No. The flow of elements is unraveling. I must contain the breaches. Entropy is piercing through. You can't stop it alone. That's right. And the Steam store page... I haven't encountered entropy in my 45 minutes of playthrough yet. But it's some sort of thing that tests the stability of your builds, or the resilience. It seems analogous to biters, although I'm not sure about the details. No, you must go through. The planes remain stable on the other side. The flow of elements must be reignited before this world shatters. And you? Of course, I'll hold the line here. The life plane bridge is traversable for now. This task falls to you. So, this is a detail I didn't notice my first go. I guess we are going specifically... This is not the life plane bridge. It is a bridge to the life plane. So we're starting on... Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to skip that. I understand, yeah. You're going to do your thing, and yeah, start with salt and then do your stuff. This is the plane of life. Yes, okay. And this is nothing. The tutorial universe? It looks pretty. I just like the first time I did this tutorial, I was like, wow, this looks really nice. And you can go back and forth for a while, but once you stand here for a while, it says, oh no, you're never going back. And then the plane thingy goes off. So, is this the same exact... Is this the exact same layout I had before? I can't actually tell. I think it is. It's pretty close. Anyway, so you can harvest, like, trees. And these produce motes of life. Oh, there's motes of water over here. I never had any motes of water before. This is mostly a life and earth stuff near the tutorial, but I guess near the portal there was some water lying around. That's cool. So you turn plants into life, and there's some rocks over here you can harvest earth from. Cool. And you've got this whole quest system up here. Harvest motes. I have done so. Open your inventory, craft some ether. So this is my inventory. This is the kind of, for now anyway, 4 panels of stuff you can do. And the things I can make. So let's make some ether and some salt as required. Done. Now we should craft a collector under the production tab. So this collector is effectively like a miner. Let's make 2. And a couple grindstones, please. So collectors, we saw in the tutorial area, gather stuff from this. Now, I noticed none of these tutorials tell you have to put collectors on these mote fields or whatever they are. But you do. And you have to power it. Great. And let's chuck a grindstone in there as well. So we're just direct inserting from a miner into a smelter, I guess, is what a grindstone is. And we're turning life directly into ether without bothering with the raw life itself. So, I ended the last... I mean, I've done a little bit more stuff than this. But I ended the last video, which I recorded but did not publish, because, as I said, there were some issues with the audio levels and stuff. Unclear on how to get the ratios of anything right, because I couldn't see, like, how fast does this make stuff, right? Like, here's a collector. How fast does it collect? How fast does this grind? How much of anything do you need? And I went to the Discord and I was like, I don't see any of this stuff. Where is it? And it's a little bit scattered and confusing, but I figured it out. well, I was told the answer, and now I understand it. I find where things are to be a little bit scattered and confusing, but not the end of the world. So, for things which have a single purpose, like a collector, in your inventory, you can mouse over the object, and it'll tell you. This makes 1 mote per 4 seconds. Grindstones, it doesn't say. How fast do things grind? Well, it depends what you're making. If you click on a grindstone, it can make a bunch of different things, and they may take different amounts of time. So here, we're turning motes into salt. No, into ether. So I should look here. Every 2 seconds, it can grind something up. So we're making a thing every 4 seconds and grinding it every 2 seconds, which means, and you can see here, that the grindstone is idle sometimes, but the collector never is. So the right ratio here is 2 collectors to 1 grindstone if we're being optimal, which, why not? Let's be, shall we? So let's pick this stuff all back up and try building this again, because even though I don't really build like high throughput good factories in Factorio, I still find joy in like finding a build that in principle, if I were using my resources efficiently, would be a nice perfect ratio build. So 2 collectors, which I want both to output into the same grindstone, which I want to output to, well, actually, I guess, can I do like this, maybe? So I'm not using up any of the... Ah, dang it, I meant to put down... Okay. Grindstone off the collector patch. Collectors... on it? I mean... okay, you know, space is not at a premium for me right now. So let's just build something simple. There. And it needs multiple mana flares to power something this tightly packed, which is fine. Okay, so now this should be kept busy at all times, right? Yeah, so let's actually take that out so I can see. Yeah, it gets 2, and then just as it's finishing, it gets filled up again. Perfect. Let me craft the rest of this myself, I guess. So that's my production of ether going along reasonably well. It could be better, but it's simple enough. Now let's get some salt going. So far, my very rough analogs, which are completely unfair, is that salt is kind of like iron and ether is kind of like copper, but I don't have much evidence for that. They're just 2 basic resources, and I don't know. So let's... Oh, can I, like, copy-paste or something? Probably not. Control-C? Drag? Shift? Control? Alt? No. Okay. So let's put this grindstone in, and as I said, space not at a premium for me right now. I need more collectors. Well, let's make a handful, I guess. Ah, and here's a way I can do it that requires only 1 mana flare. Cool. So mana flares are kind of like, as far as I can tell, they're kind of like burners. Like this is a battery, right? It has a power bank, which I filled up when I placed it, and eventually it runs dry. And you can refill it. That's fine, but that like requires player time, right? Which is something that I assume eventually, perhaps not even too far in the future, you can automate. But at the moment, I have not and do not know how. So now we're being asked to make an infusion altar, which is an artifice thing. And then also some pedestals. I'll make 3. It says 2, but I know from doing the tutorial before that I'll need another one before too long. So an infusion altar, for those Factorio heads out there, is a lab. Where is it? Here it is. I'll just plop my lab down right here. Maybe someday we'll make another one. We'll move it or whatever. My pedestals? Can I like... Sure. Let's just place them all around. So this consumes things to produce research. It's gonna need some mana. These pedestals don't need to be powered, but I'm gonna want power there in a sec anyway. And so we are meant to place ether and... I don't have any salt. Don't I? Oh, I must have used it to build all that stuff, because I had some a minute ago. Oh, these are in the wrong place. Okay, I'm so bad at this. No, that was right. Probably, I think. Here, salt. Yeah, that actually was basically right as I look at it. So what happens if I try to do more of this while I'm out of power? It just takes longer, I guess? This is empty. So why are you not... Oh, you don't want salt. You want salt prisms. There you go. And so it takes these 2 things, sucks them in, and then you have researched... You have produced 1 red science. The red science is not an item, it just is immediately... It's created by the lab and instantly cashed in, as far as I can tell. You could think of these things as being red science, but they're not. They're important intermediate products. So, research simple logistics. We can see that we need to infuse a total of 3 times to get that. So, here you go. And we can learn simple logistics, which needs the same items, but it needs... Well, no, sorry. Now that we have these, we can do the next thing, which requires 5 of those things. And boy, isn't that a pain, right? Because I had to drag... Like, this isn't a chest. You can only put 1 thing in the pedestal. But this is unlocked, chests and grippers, which are inserters. So under logistics, I'll make, I don't know, a handful of chests and a handful of grippers. And now we can start doing the kind of really really dumb automation that you get in Factorio, where you just say, I'm gonna put down... Boy, I used all my salt building that stuff, huh? Well, let's make more. You just put down chests of stuff with inserters next to it, and that's like... The player is doing all the logistics of moving stuff around at the large scale, but at the small scale, the inserters are putting stuff into the machines for you. Okay, so next up it says use a tinker's table. Well, let's Let's research the shifting slab stuff. These are belts. Tinker's Table requires 10 more stuff, which... Did I really not put down any more of this stuff here? Yeah, so you can see our little grippers are taking the stuff out of the chests, putting it onto the pedestals, and the altar is sucking them up out of the pedestals and doing science on them. Let's top these off. I guess this one's draining because even though this gripper isn't doing anything, the infusion table is. Maybe it's draining equally from its 3 things or something. I don't know. So we could make some belts. I guess that's fine. I have not yet done any automation, even in the like aborted video before this, where I got fancy enough to even need belts. Just like a building, making stuff, and direct inserting has been all I'm really capable of. But soon, and I figured out some ratios for things. Okay, so we have new science. Yes, teach me about Tinker's Tables, which are assembling machines. And you can see here that although there are salt prisms and ether crystals, what are they called? Just ether. Available, it's not doing any more science. This is because there's no research that takes just these 2 things. So if we look at the available research... Oh, how weird. Is this like the plane of science? I never realized I could move the character around here. There's sort of more stuff we could research. There's some sort of... Oh, increases the range of mana flare by 1. So it lets you... It's like bigger power poles, kind of? Medium power poles? This gives you assault... Like, I don't know what any of this junk is. And this looks like it says, for restoring the master portal, which I assume is like kind of building a rocket almost? But happening much earlier game, it looks like, than it happens in Factorio. Because I could automate building all of this stuff right now if I wanted, I think. It would just take a while. But the next objective for the tutorial is one that I did not get to before this video. So, like I told you, I didn't get that far. We have underground slabs we can research, but that requires shifting slabs. So we have to feed belts into the science machine. And every Factorio player knows you need so many belts. So we should automate belt production. And this is sort of where I got, like, rabbit-holed. Oh, you're almost empty. In my earlier attempt was, as soon as I tried to actually automate something, I wanted to know ratios. Because if you don't know the ratios, what is even the point? How can you do something in a way that is at all reasonable if you don't... I couldn't figure out the constraints of like how fast anything is built or whatever. Now I can. So I can build a decent belt machine, I think. So let's build our first Tinker's Table. Let's build 5 of them, in fact. Here's one. So, a Tinker's Table. I can build various objects. I want slabs, which are belts. So it says, every 1 second it produces 2 belts, and it requires 2 salt and 1 ether. Okay. Not salt prisms, but salt. Wait. No, wrong. It does want salt prisms, but salt prisms require both salt and ether. Got it. So maybe salt prisms are like gears? No, because they take... Maybe they're like green circuits? I don't know. You don't have to draw this. I mean, there's no real benefit to drawing these very direct analogs when there's no proof that those analogs like are productive. So maybe what I should be doing is just first automating production of salt crystals, because it seems like a lot of things use salt crystals, and that requires both ether and salt. Right? The grindstone is where that happens? Yeah. So, okay, I guess I'll talk a little bit more about ratios, because that's the only thing I understand in any damn factory game. I'm used to trying to measure... I'm not good at Factorio, right? I'm like, whatever. It takes me forever to do anything, and I muddle through eventually, which is why I don't do Factorio videos. But, you know, belts are a unit of measure in a way. One full belt of stuff is a useful amount of throughput to have to measure things by. And so I think in terms of like, okay, how much would it cost? How much production would I need to fill a belt with something? And I worked out in between the last video, which didn't happen, and this video, which did, when now that I understand how ratios and speed works, that the ratio of like collectors to belts is you would need 2 collectors to a grindstone, which we have here, and 8 grindstones to a belt. So 16 collectors would be 1 belt. It seems like at this stage in the tutorial, it would be very unreasonable to try to build a belt worth of like salt prisms or something, right? I don't have the tools to consume that. But let's just imagine that I did. So if we're looking at this, this would need an item, well, a belt worth of, okay, never mind, let's look over here. Give me that. So a belt worth of salt prisms is just a belt worth of salt and a belt worth of ether. And how quickly... Here, make a belt. How do I do that? Make 10? 20? So you have to mouse over stuff over here to see speeds at which it can be built. I don't know. A little annoying, but... No, speeds at which it does stuff. So this belt transports 4 items per second. In principle, if we wanted to fill a belt with belts, it was 1 second to make 2, is that right? Yeah. So we would need 2 Tinker's tables. And a belt, 2 belts of raw salt and 1 belt of raw ether, basically. But I don't know. I don't need that. Let's just automate any production of this stuff, shall we? Which is there a place where life and Earth are a little bit closer together? Up here, eh? Okay, so let's vacuum up some of this stuff. And where are my collectors? Which is this a collector? It is. Okay, build like 5 more. Again, let's build this the same way. Build more grindstones too? There you go. Can't place ghosts in this game. Okay, so if I put a grindstone like here, and 2 Can I shift R? Oh, I can. How nice. 2 collectors feeding into it like that. Okay, it's going. And then let's duplicate the process up here. Like that. So let's at least work out the ratios for this. I'm producing with a grindstone. Each of these... hang on. Yes, this takes 2 seconds to make one thing, and 2 seconds to make one thing here. So these are balanced with each other. Okay. And how fast are grippers? 1 second per 2 things. So they're exactly fast enough to empty out a grindstone, I guess. Okay. Makes sense. And I know it's not powered. So if I put my Tinker's table... I don't know. Well, hang on. What am I making? I don't want a Tinker's table, do I? I want another grindstone to make salt prisms. So this one we can direct insert, let's say. The other one, we're going to need just a very tiny belt. Oh, but I didn't stop to think, okay, what is this? Every 2 seconds, it wants one of each thing. So, yeah. This is a perfect ratio for this. 1 to 1 to 1. So now we're making salt crystals. That's cool. And if I wanted to make belts, then I would need, among other things, a Tinker's table. So let's put one right here. Direct inserted from the salt crystal maker. And I need also... Oops. Give me that back. Why is it... Oh, right. This is making salt prisms. I was confused. Okay. I need also salt, right? For a belt? Yes. So I need another 2 collectors if I want to keep this ratio up, don't I? Oh. Oh, this wants a lot of input to be maxed, right? Because every 1 second... it's consuming one of these. But we're only making one of these every 2 seconds. So we need to duplicate this setup to keep this satisfied. Which I think would be a nice thing to do, don't you? So maybe we don't want a direct insert, actually. Right? Because then I'd have to replicate this whole belt setup. Yeah. Okay, so I want kind of... 4 collector's worth of life. I don't know. We don't need the ratios. Like, just forget it. That's my considered opinion, is that like I'm just stopping myself from getting to the interesting part by micro-optimizing the stuff that doesn't matter with tools that I'm sure will be improved before too long. So let's, at least I will like make this a little bit more optimal. No, sorry, I will, you know, what am I saying? I don't know. Am I doing it like this, really? There. So you... What? Are you gonna know what to make automatically, or do I have to pick something? You seem unwilling to put your thing down into nothingness, which, fine, I guess. Do I have any pedestals? I don't really want a chest to buffer things. I just want a place to put a thing down and pick it back up again. Is that what a pedestal would do? Yep. Okay. Kind of funny. And you have just figured out that belts are the only thing you can make, so you're gonna make them. Great. I love that for you. I have a chest. Let me put it right here. And I have grippers. Is there some sort of... No, there's no, like, chest size limiter. Okay. Oh, but don't forget, this thing actually makes stuff, I believe, faster than a gripper can move them? I'm out of grippers. This moves one item every 2 seconds. Well, this makes 2 items every second, but it's only half satisfied, so it's making items every second, I think. Yeah. So we would need 2 of these grippers. That's kind of funny. To even satisfy the modest output that I have here. So let's make like 50 grippers or something. I don't know. I love grippers. And some more chests. Shouldn't have to make belts many more times, fortunately. Okay, what were you just telling me about placement mode? Locked or freeform? I see. Okay, interesting. I don't know if I'm ready for freeform mode. Yeah, so now we're not being bottlenecked by these grippers anymore, I think. And I can collect many slabs. Okay. So this is, I mean, it's far away from everything else I'm doing, but it's making slabs without any more intervention aside from constantly having to come over and charge the batteries, so to speak. Let me charge them all before I go. Great. And of course, everything down here has run dry. The mana flares have even disappeared. That's how sad they are. Well, I can improve this now while I'm here, I guess. Oh, cute. What is this? Hello? I don't know why that's orange. Oh, and it's like telling me how much stuff is left under it, I guess? Maybe? If that's what that number is? Sure. You go there. And charge that bad boy up. Okay. So now, this pedestal will be for belts. If I charge the whole thing back up, we can get back to doing science, but on the stuff that knows about belts, right? Yes, we seem to be moving in the right direction. We're going to need a total of 50 belts to get to elemental binders, which I have. But I bet I need more of this stuff. Yeah, I'm already like, okay. I don't really have I mean, I have automation for producing these, but it's all going into belts, so... Or slabs or whatever. Okay, I have plenty of ether. For the moment. Oh yeah, I can just, well, yeah, here, take all my salt prisms. So, I feel like I should be automating more the science a little bit more effectively. Because making salt prisms by hand is not fast. I'm going to need 50 of them. Okay. Is there like a map? If I press M, nothing happens? Okay. What is all this stuff? Shift, Control, Alt, nothing runs faster. Okay. It's like, it looks more like life stuff, but it's kind of wet. Is it water? It is water. A little bit. Nope. I've learned underground slabs, which I have just no use for at all at the moment. But that's fine. The next research step just wants the same thing and will give me elemental binders, and I don't even know what those are. I have binders full of elements, apparently. There's more life around here. What is this? This doesn't look like earth or life. Is this water? It's blue. It must be water, right? Yeah, okay. So we're going to use that at some point. Cool. Good to know, but at the moment it has no use for me. All I know how to do with elements is grind them into bits. Oh, that must be water as well. Okay. So I guess I just want... Here, give me. You need what? More salt prisms. Yeah, so I want to connect these things just to make salt prisms, because that seems, well, maybe the elemental binder will make it easier. I don't know. I mean, I think fundamentally I'm going to have to like belt all this stuff together, but I don't know what I'm doing with it other than making salt crystals, salt prisms or whatever they are, which doesn't seem like my real end goal. Why are you not doing science? You need more ether? Here, enjoy. Give me some of those back though. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens when you have, like... You can do something with elements and not just the reagents, which I think is what we're working with right now. Well, I guess maybe all of these are reagents. Reagent just means like intermediate product, I guess, basically. Something that has no use by itself, whereas all of these do something. Yeah, these are all just reagent, ingredient, whatever that means. Make more of these. It seems like you can never have enough, and I keep refusing to automate it. Oh, let's go pick up some more belts while we wait. We won't be waiting for long. Oh yeah, I think I got 300 there. And of course all the batteries are in sad, sad shape. And we just got the ability to unlock the next thing. I'm a little surprised. My mana bar is like empty, but it didn't seem to matter in terms of refilling these things. This costs almost no energy, I guess. Okay. Barely. Okay, it decreases my recharge rate, but doesn't like drain me by much. It's an elemental binder. I can make binders. Yes, claim. And now there's all this other stuff I can get. Increase the duration of Mana Flare? Duration? Not like charge amount? Interesting. I don't totally know what the distinction there is. Tree of Life. Okay, so if I had Salt Prisms and Elemental Life, but I can't use Elemental Life until I understand what to do in the Elemental Binder. I suspect that'll be in the next video, but let's take a little peek. Elemental Water, yeah, these can be made by binding them with their corresponding reagent, I guess, right? Because Water and Life both... Well, I don't quite understand. Okay, but under production, there are binders. Bind motes into more stable forms. Yeah. Can be crafted in Salt Sanctuary? But I can craft it by hand, right? Looks like yes. Maybe? Yeah, so what the hell is this? Yeah, you can make elemental stuff. So life plus salt. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for today. Tomorrow I'll try researching the Tree of Life, I guess. Everything sounds so grandiose. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.